We are living in the absolute golden age of the quantified self. I
Mhm.
want you to look at your wrist right now. You're probably wearing something that counts your steps. Maybe you have a ring that tracks your REM sleep cycles. Some of my friends are even wearing continuous glucose monitors just to see what a bagel does to their blood sugar.
Mm.
We are obsessed with data. We love the dashboard.
It's the dashboard effect. We feel like if we can see the numbers, we can control the machine. We want to know what is happening under the hood of our own biology.
Exactly. But here's the problem I've always had with this data deluge. It feels like we have a massive blind spot. We are hyper-focused on the output, how fast we run, how well we rested, how many calories we burned. But what about the input? Specifically, our actual nutritional status in real time. Unless you are scheduling a blood draw every Tuesday morning, which nobody is doing, it's basically a guessing game. You eat a salad, you take a vitamin, and you just hope it did something.
And that is a dangerous guessing game to play. Because nutritional deficiency is silent. It doesn't always show up as a screaming symptom like fatigue or a rash until you are way further down the road than you want to be. You can be running on empty micronutrients while your step counter says you're doing great.
So today's deep dive is tackling that blind spot. We are diving into something that sounds like science fiction, but is actually just physics. We're talking about a device called the Prysm IO. It's a handheld gadget that shoots a beam of light into your skin and tells you, right then and there, how your antioxidant health is holding up.
It represents a fascinating shift in the wellness industry. We're moving from the previous standard, the biophotonic S3 scanner, to this new intelligent device. And the operative word there isn't scanner, it's intelligent. This is about the convergence of hardware and massive data sets.
Before we get into the tech, let's talk about where this is coming from. We are basing this deep dive on a really extensive discussion with Dr. Chang.
A heavy hitter in the wellness industry.
Yeah, a total heavy hitter. He's the chairman of the Scientific Advisory Board at New Skin. He's been there for 25 years. And he was described in our source material as a unicorn scientist, which I love that term. What does that actually mean in this context?
It's a rare designation. Usually in the scientific community, you have the pure academics who understand complex biochemistry, gene expression, and molecular pathways. But they can't explain it to a 5-year-old.
Right.
Then you have the business side or the marketing side. Dr. Chang bridges that gap. He has the ability to take the raw chemistry of antioxidants and explain not just how it works, but why it matters for your daily life. He turns the abstract into the actionable.
So the mission for today is pretty clear. We're going to unpack how a light beam can read your nutrition through your skin, why a 20-year-old database is actually the secret sauce behind this new device, and how to interpret the numbers without freaking out.
It's about making the invisible visible.
Let's start with a history lesson, because Dr. Chang made it clear this didn't just pop up overnight. This technology has a lineage.
It does. And if you look at the timeline, it almost perfectly mirrors the evolution of personal computing. Think about the first computers ENIAC, those massive mainframes in the 1940s and 50s.
The ones that took up a whole floor of a building and needed massive cooling systems.
Exactly. That was the S1 scanner back in 2003. It was a room-sized apparatus. You had to go to it. It didn't come to you. It was clunky. It was slow. But it proved the concept worked. It proved you could use Raman spectroscopy, which is a physics technique, to measure nutrients in living tissue.
And just to clarify, the concept is measuring antioxidants through the skin.
Specifically carotenoids. But we'll get to why that specific molecule is the key. After the room-size version, they shrunk it down to the S2, which was described as toaster-sized.
Better than a room, but you're still not carrying a toaster in your pocket to dinner.
Right. Then came the S3, which has been the standard for a while, more portable, likely what people have seen in offices or gyms. And now we have the Prysm IO. It's handheld, sleek, fits in your palm, and connects to an app via Bluetooth. But here is the crucial takeaway. Despite the radical change in size from a room to a palm, the core mechanism, the physics of what it's doing, hasn't changed. It is looking for carotenoids.
Carotenoids. Okay,
Yeah.
let's pause and unpack that, because to the average person, that sounds like a distinct chemical or maybe something related to carrots. Why are we obsessed with this specific molecule? Dr. Chang used the orange baby example, which I thought was brilliant.
It's the classic pediatrician example. If you feed a baby nothing but pureed carrots, sweet potatoes, and squash for a few months, what happens?
They turn orange.
Literally orangish, their nose, their palms. That isn't a sickness. It is visible proof that carotenoids, which are the pigments in those vegetables, accumulate in the skin. The body stores them there. Now, compare that to blueberries. Blueberries are incredibly healthy, full of anthocyanins and other antioxidants, but if you feed a baby blueberries, they don't turn blue.
Which is fortunate for the parents. I can't imagine the panic of a blue baby.
Very fortunate. But it highlights a limitation and a feature. The scanner is specifically tuned to see those carotenoids because they have a unique optical signature. They reflect light in a very specific way that the sensor can pick up. Other antioxidants, like vitamin C or the anthocyanins in berries, are water-soluble. They flush through the system quickly and don't store in the skin in the same way, and they don't reflect the laser the same way.
So the skeptic in me has to ask this. Why do we care just about carotenoids? If I'm eating my blueberries and spinach and I'm generally healthy, why does it matter if I have these specific orange pigments? Is this just a vanity metric? Is it just checking if I like carrots?
That's the million-dollar question. And this is where Dr. Chang's expertise really shines. He explains that carotenoids aren't just an antioxidant, they are a biomarker for your entire antioxidant network.
He used the analogy of the thread and the fabric.
Yes. Imagine your body's antioxidant defense system is a tightly woven fabric. It includes vitamin C, E, enzymes like CoQ10, everything working together. Carotenoids are like a single thread sticking out of that fabric.
Okay, so it's part of the whole.
Exactly. But here's the logic. Because antioxidants work as a network, they actually recharge each other chemically if that carotenoid thread is weak, fraying, or barely there. It's a statistically valid indication that the whole fabric is unraveling. If the thread is robust and strong, the fabric is likely strong.
So it's a proxy.
Exactly. It's a proxy for your overall nutritional status. Just like we use cholesterol as a biomarker for heart health. Cholesterol itself isn't a heart attack. You can have high cholesterol and feel fine today, but it's a marker that tells us the system is under stress. Low carotenoids don't mean you're sick right this second, but they indicate your nutritional defense is down and your cells are vulnerable to oxidative stress.
It's the check engine light, not the engine itself. If the light is on, you don't just smash the bulb, you check the engine.
That is the perfect way to view it. And because carotenoids are more stable in the skin than something like vitamin C, which fluctuates hourly, they give you a much better long-term picture of your status.
Now let's get to the part that really surprised me, the intelligence of this new device.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Chang was very clear. The hardware, the laser, the Prysm is only 50% of the equation. You get the best laser in the world, but without the back end, it's dumb.
Right. You need to know what the reflection means. Just getting a signal back is useless if you can't interpret it. And this is where the competitive advantage lies. It's the database. They have been collecting data for over 20 years.
And it's not just a list of scan scores, right?
Yeah.
Because just knowing that 1 million people scanned at 20,000 doesn't tell you much about why they scored that.
No, and that's the key. They collected lifestyle data alongside the scans. For 2 decades, every time someone scanned, they often asked, what is your BMI? Do you smoke? What is your diet like? Do you live in a polluted city? Do you take supplements?
So they have millions of data points correlating specific lifestyle choices with skin carotenoid levels.
Which allows for intelligent wellness. Dr. Chang compared the device's AI to a human brain. When a child is born, they have a brain. The hardware is fully formed. The neurons are there. But are they intelligent yet?
No, they have to go to school. They need input. They need to learn that 2 + 2 is always 4.
Precisely. The Prysm IO has gone to school for 20 years. It has learned from all those millions of scans. It has learned that if you smoke, your score drops by X amount because smoking destroys antioxidants. If you eat leafy greens, it rises by Y. If you live in a high pollution area, your antioxidants get used up faster fighting the smog, so your score might be lower even if you eat the same salad as someone in the clean countryside.
This leads to my favorite analogy from the whole discussion, the Rosetta Stone. I feel like this really clicked it into place for me.
It's a beautiful comparison. Think about Egyptian hieroglyphics. For centuries, explorers and archaeologists looked at them and just saw pictures. Birds, snakes, eyes, wavy lines. They could trace them, they could count them, they could catalog them perfectly. But they had no idea what they meant. They were just data without context.
Until the Rosetta Stone was found, which had the same text in Greek and hieroglyphics, allowing us to translate.
Dr. Chang argues that the raw carotenoid reading, the physics of the light bouncing back from your skin, is the hieroglyphic. It's just a raw electronic signal. The 20-year database is the Rosetta Stone. It translates that raw signal into a meaningful, actionable insight about your nutritional health. Without the database, the number is just a number. With the database, it's a health status. It tells you where you stand relative to millions of other data points.
Speaking of numbers, let's talk about the score itself, because if any of our listeners have used the old S3 scanner, they're going to be confused. The numbers look totally different.
It's a massive shift in the user interface. The old scale went from 0 to 100,000. It was huge. You'd see people chasing 40,000, 50,000, 60,000.
That sounds like a pinball score or an arcade game.
It felt like one. And the new scale, 0 to 1,500.
That feels significantly smaller. Why the drastic reduction? Did we lose something?
We didn't lose anything. We gained clarity. First, the sensitivity is different, so the math is different. But Dr. Chang made an incredibly important distinction here between arbitrary units and arbitrary numbers. This is a bit technical, but it matters for credibility.
Break it down for us.
An arbitrary unit means the score isn't a direct weight measurement. It's not saying you have 5 milligrams of beta-carotene in your thumb. It's a unit unique to the device based on the intensity of the reflected light. However, the number is not arbitrary. It is mathematically derived from the actual carotenoid levels. It's a precise calculation.
So it's precise, just on its own scale, like how Fahrenheit and Celsius are different scales for the same heat. 100 Celsius kills you, 100 Fahrenheit is just a hot day in Texas.
Exactly. And the reason for the smaller scale is largely psychological. They wanted to shift the mindset. The old 100,000 scale often turned into a video game high score chase. I got 60,000, I beat you. It encouraged people to try and max out the machine.
We are naturally competitive creatures. I'd absolutely want to beat my previous score or beat my friend.
And you should want to improve, but health isn't a high-score competition where infinity is the goal. Dr. Chang emphasized the range mentality. When you go to the doctor for blood work, do they say, "Congratulations, you have the highest white blood cell count in the county"?
No, that would usually mean you have a massive infection or leukemia. You don't want the high score there.
Right. They look for a normal range. They want you in the healthy zone.
Yeah.
The new 0-1500 scale, with its color coding blue, green, purple, is designed to get you to focus on being in the optimal zone. Once you are in the blue zone, you are protected. You have sufficient antioxidant coverage. You don't need to stress about getting an extra 50 points just to brag.
It's about sufficiency, not excess. It feels more medical, more clinical.
It frames it as a health metric rather than a vanity metric. It aligns the user with the goal of protection rather than winning.
But I have to play devil's advocate here. I think many listeners are probably thinking this. Dr. Chang works for Nu Skin. Nu Skin sells supplements. There is a lot of skepticism that this device is just a life pack detector.
The idea being that it's just a sales tool designed to beep when you take their specific vitamins and flatline when you don't.
Right. Oh, you're low. Conveniently, here is a subscription link for $100 a month. So, is there actual validation that this measures food, not just their pills? Can I beat the scanner with a salad?
That is a fair critique, and Dr. Chang addressed it head-on with data. They discussed a validation study involving fruit and vegetable intake specifically. They took groups of people and strictly controlled their diets. 0 servings of fruits and veggies, 1 serving, all the way up to 7 servings a day.
And crucially, no supplements.
0 supplements, just food from the grocery store. And the scanner scores increased incrementally in perfect correlation with the amount of fruits and vegetables consumed. The people eating 7 servings had significantly higher scores than those eating 2.
So if I eat 7 servings of kale, peppers, and sweet potatoes, my score goes up, even if I never buy a single pill from them.
Precisely. That validates it as a nutritional measure. It detects the carotenoids from the food source. The physics doesn't care if the molecule came from a farm or a factory. It just sees the molecule.
Okay, that helps with the credibility. But let's be real. They do talk about scanner-certified products. What does that actually mean? Is it marketing fluff?
It's a quality assurance guarantee, but it's based on bioavailability. It means they have formulated the supplement to guarantee it will impact the score. They've ensured the carotenoid bioavailability is there, that the pill breaks down, and the nutrients actually get into your blood and tissues. For example, in products like LifePak Nano or the youth supplement.
But he made a really interesting point about the other ingredients. Because not everything in a multivitamin is orange.
This is the supplement myth. If the device was only a sales tool, they would just pack the pills with cheap beta-carotene. It's cheap, it turns you orange, and it spikes the score. You'd get a great score and have terrible health. But LifePak Nano has fish oils, minerals, vitamins, things that do not register on the scanner.
Right, omega-3s don't glow under a laser. Magnesium doesn't reflect light like that.
They don't. But they are vital for health. Dr. Chang was essentially saying, We formulate for health first. The scanner just verifies the absorption of the antioxidant component. If the antioxidants are getting in, it's highly likely the other nutrients in that same capsule, the ones we can't scan, are getting into. It acts as a tracer.
They also mentioned a product called Mindful 360, which is for brain health. That seemed like an odd fit for an antioxidant scanner. I think of brain supplements as ginkgo or caffeine.
You wouldn't think a brain supplement needs carotenoids. We usually think of nootropics. But Dr. Chang explained the physiology. The brain consumes a massive amount of oxygen, about 20% of your body's total oxygen intake, despite being a small percentage of your weight.
Which means a lot of oxidation.
Exactly. High oxygen use creates high oxidative stress-free radicals. The brain needs carotenoids for protection against that rust. So even though Mindful 360 is for memory or focus, the carotenoids are there to protect the hardware of the brain itself so the software can run.
So the score connects back to brain protection, even if you're just thinking about remembering your keys.
Everything is connected. The body is one system.
Okay, let's get practical. I've got the Prysm IO in my hand. How do I actually use this thing to hack my health? Do I scan every hour? Do I scan once a year?
Dr. Chang's protocol is very specific, especially for new users. When you first get it, scan every single day.
Every day. That sounds intense.
Just for a while, because you need to establish a baseline. Your levels fluctuate based on hydration, blood flow, stress, even temperature of your hands. Maybe you ate poorly yesterday. You need to see your personal variance, your trends.
That makes sense. It's like weighing yourself. One high number might be water weight or a heavy meal, but a trend line over 2 weeks tells the truth.
Exactly. Once you know your baseline, say you hover around 400, then you can drop back to weekly or monthly to track long-term progress. But consistency is key. Scan at the same time of day to remove variables.
And speaking of variables, we have to talk about absorption, because someone asked a great question in the source material. Why didn't my score go up? They were taking the supplements, eating the food, but the number was flat. And the answer wasn't take more pills.
No, the answer was eat some fat.
This brings me back to college biology. Carotenoids are fat-soluble.
Correct. And this is a huge mistake people make. If you wake up, pop a handful of vitamins or eat a giant raw salad and wash it down with just water or black coffee, you might not absorb much of it. It just passes right through your digestive tract. You need fat avocado, olive oil, a bit of yogurt, even eggs to transport those carotenoids across the intestinal wall.
So the actionable advice here is, take your supplements or eat your healthy food with a meal that has some fat content. Don't be afraid of the fat.
Yes, and dosing matters too. Your body can only absorb so much at one time. Dr. Chang noted that spreading intake between morning and night mimics how we naturally eat and improves the score. If you dump 2,000 units of antioxidants in at 8 a.m., you lose a lot. If you do 1,000 at 8 a.m. and 1,000 at 6 p.m., your score goes up, not because you took more, but because your body retained more.
Before we wrap up, I loved the favorite child moment. The host tried to get Dr. Chang to pick his favorite product.
And like a good diplomat, he hesitated. But he gave us a great framework for how listeners should choose what they need. If you are looking for pure nutritional deficiency, plugging the holes in a standard modern diet life pack, Nano is the go-to. It has the highest correlation to score increase because it's designed for broad spectrum coverage. It's the shotgun approach.
But if you're worried about aging,
Then it's youth. That's the anti-aging focus. It deals with gene expression and cellular health. And interestingly, the interviewer admitted youth was her favorite child product.
which I appreciated. It shows that you choose the tool for the job. You don't just chase the score, you chase the health outcome you want.
That's the core message here. The score is a tool, not the goal. The goal is living a longer, healthier life.
So let's bring this all together. We've gone from a room-sized machine to a handheld device backed by 20 years of AI learning. It's not just counting carrots. It's reading the status of your body's defense system.
And most importantly, it's democratizing that data. You don't need a lab coat or a PhD to know if your diet is working anymore. You just need a beam of light.
I love the elevator pitch Dr. Chang gave at the end. If you want to explain this to someone, don't say, hey, want to check your antioxidants.
Too technical, you'll lose them. Their eyes will glaze over.
Instead, ask, you want to understand your nutritional status?
Because that's what it is. It answers the fundamental question. Is what I'm eating actually getting into my body and doing its job?
And that leads me to my final thought for our listeners today. We have spent years tracking our output, our steps, our calories burned. But now that we have the Rosetta Stone to read our input, How does that change the responsibility we have over our daily food choices?
It removes the excuse of ignorance. When the data is right there in your hand that salad isn't just good for you in the abstract, it's a data point that changes your biology. You can't unknow the number.
Heavy stuff to think about next time you're in the produce aisle. Find your zone, keep learning, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.
Stay curious.